This podcast is the sole property of Proud Sports. Our thoughts and opinions are our own.
Yeah. They say I walk like a king, talk like a king. You can act around now, say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the name. But they ain't got what's running through these veins. Say I walk like a king, talk like a king. You can act around now, say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the name. But they ain't got what's running through these veins. Make way for the king.
What's up, Proud Panthers podcast time again. Back here with you and appreciative of everybody that has followed us throughout this basketball season, the home for everything High Point University basketball, part of Teedoff Sports and everything at teedoffsports.com, including other blogs, other podcasts, other video features. Hope you'll go and check those out and always follow along with us on X at Teedo Sports, myself at Stephen Beck TO. It is an exciting but yet busy time of year. And so I traveled last week with the team out to Johnson City. Now this weekend, there's ACC tournament going on in other basketball circles, so I'm doing some stuff with that myself. But we have Selection Sunday coming up, and that's what I'm really most excited about because I feel like this time period in between, it's nice to sit back and take a breath and watch other games and not have the pressures that other fans and other teams have right now. But at the same time, I'm like the team, I think, eager to find out, okay, who we playing? Where are we going? All that's going to happen on Sunday, and excited to be at the watch party again this year at the not the Millis Center. That's old school days. At the Cobain Center, I should say. And so excited to see that with the team. It'll be a great environment. I mean, last year, the whole arena bottom area was sold out. Honestly, it was way over my expectations of what I thought it would be. Guaranteed it probably matches that, if not greater again this year. So anything and everything that has to do with Panthers fans getting together, doing stuff just like we do here on the podcast is something I'm excited to do and be a part of. So we look to that on Sunday. In preparation for that, we were able to sit down and hang out with a lot of the players. I know with Coach Clayman, we were able to catch up with him after the Big South Championship game. Players, though, we hadn't had a chance to really meet and greet with them very much yet until just this week, where we were able to get their perspectives. So I've got tons of clips to share with you. We'll do that here, but I'll have the full selection of our sit downs with each of the guys that we spent time with over at teedoffsports.com. So if you're a High Point junkie like myself and you want to hear the full perspective, full clips of all these guys' time with me, then that will be available to you. So we'll share some of that coming up right after this.
High Point University, the premier life skills university, is ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review. Employers value HPU's real-world preparation. Students love unprecedented access to global leaders on High Point's inspiring campus. And parents appreciate HPU's God, family, and country values. Choose to be extraordinary at High Point University.
Back on Proud Panthers podcast here. Selection Sunday coming up this weekend. Where will we go? You know, I have my preferences, honestly. I would like it to be, we'll start just East Coast. If it like, you know, this is not going to happen, I'll tell you. But if at all possible, Greenville, South Carolina would just be off the chain. I mean, that would be almost a home game for our Panthers team. I don't think it's likely. I'd love Tampa. That's just me selfishly thinking. I would love to go, you know, and be somewhere warm. And I feel like the travel out of our state here in North Carolina would be really convenient for us and the team. I have this inkling, for whatever stretch of the imagination, that we're going to be in Portland. That's one of the sites as well. I don't love that, but again, right now beggars can't be choosers. So like I said, we'll take what we can get. I think in terms of the team, the better discussion is the matchup. So who could it be? If we're a 12, if we're a 13, I think it's really one of those two. I tend to, again, I don't want to sound negative here, but I'm tending to lean that we'll probably be a 13 seed. I don't know. I've seen different commentary of potentially playing UNC. Well, they just lost in the ACC tournament to Clemson, and they don't have Caleb Wilson. And I feel like they do turn the ball over a generous amount. They kind of live and die by the 3-point shot. So I would love that matchup. You know, North Carolina native boy here, I would love to beat up on Tar Heel fans. Vandy would be another matchup that, it has a storyline, of course, with a rematch, or not really a rematch, but just a revisiting with Duke Miles, who spent time, of course, playing with us the first season with Alan Huss at High Point. I think that, again, matchup-wise, we could fare pretty well with. I don't love the matchups where, we might play Kansas. That one scares me a little bit. But again, all this coming on Sunday, we can divulge and really think about that on our Monday edition of the Proud Panthers podcast, which we absolutely will have, looking ahead to the game of whoever we play, wherever we play, hoping to have words from Coach Klayman at that point after we've seen, who and where we're going to be, to get his thoughts on that. But as I mentioned, after the Big South champ win, the players, and the main portion of the team departed out of Johnson City, and we had not had a chance really to catch up and get their thoughts yet. So it was really cool this week to be able to sit down with Scotty Washington, Rob Martin, Braden Hausen, and Cam Fletcher, who we have not heard from on the Proud Panthers podcast yet this year. And I'll tell you right now, we've got some big Cam news as part of this episode. But I want to start with a guy who has been a leader on this team all season. He's a captain. And in the tournament, he had to, especially in that championship game against Winthrop, he had to have the ball in his hand, clock ticking down, lots of pressure on him. So we were able to sit down with Rob Martin. Now, this is his thoughts on playing and getting the Big South championship
it's
win.
1 versus 2.
Yeah.
Everybody would have to be deaf to not realize, like, hey, we're going to have to strap up for a pretty big game.
Yeah.
At any point during that 40 minutes of basketball, did you feel nervous, or did you have doubts or worries, or what was going through your mind?
I'll probably say I was nervous before the game, but just always having butterflies. But at the end of the day, it's basketball. I've been playing basketball for so long, so just trusting in my work, trusting in the coaches, the teammates that's behind me. So just trusting in the Lord, and he takes care of the rest, to be honest. That's all him doing that. So I was nervous a little bit, but once I start playing, you see it's like second nature.
I can kind of relate a little bit. Like I think back to some of the first times I hopped on a radio show. And if you didn't know, I host a Saturday show right now on a local radio station, WSJS, called Waking Up Proud. And I just remember back, like, even my earliest radio days, first out of High Point, I was nervous going into those first shows. But once you do kind of get on and you start really flowing into it, the nerves do flush away. So I'm happy to hear that these players, they're not nervous in the moment as much, because I know for me watching, and I feel this when I watch my daughter at gymnastics competitions as well. It's like, you don't have any control as a fan. You're on the sidelines, you're watching. And in that Big South championship game, I know for me that my nerves started flushing when Cody Cluett came out probably midway. It was around the 12-minute mark in the second half, started hitting some shots finally. I mean, he was in the first half, I want to say he was like 0 of 7 shooting. And I'll say that Chase is a better shooter, but they resemble a little bit of one another in the sense that they're sharpshooters. And if he gets going, he gets in a flow, that can change the game fast. All High Point fans should realize from not only this Big South Championship game that we just went through, but a year prior, that with 15 minutes left to play, 12, 15 minutes left to play, game's not over. So I was getting a little nervous. Happy to hear that Rob Martin was not. Now, though, that they've won, and again, he's a leader on this team, here were his thoughts on how he can help express to the other guys, we kind of got to keep our head down here. Job's not done yet.
Busy time because you have practices going on.
Yeah.
You've just come off of a huge Big South Championship win, second for our Panthers program in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have Selection Sunday coming up and an NCAA tournament to prepare for. So with all of those things flooding through your mind, and I'm sure people coming out of the woodworks like me reaching out and talking with you guys, like how do you stay focused? What is your mind like with all these things going on?
Just really focusing on what got us here, man. That was just putting in the work. Coach used to always say, block out the noise, put your headphones on. So, of course, we see a lot of stuff on social media, Chase going viral, and a lot of people just talking about High Point basketball, and Rob Martin, Cam Fletcher, all the guys that played a huge part in us getting here. So, I feel like, man, just doing what got us here. Don't act brand new. Don't play different. Keep getting our hands up, being in the gap. Just do the little things that matters that got us to 30 wins and, of course, NCAA Tournament bid. So, I'm excited for Sunday. I can't wait.
I did talk with Braden Hausen as well, as I mentioned. And one of the things there from Rob as he's talking that kind of jumps into my mind is I think the pressure for this team, even though a lot of these guys weren't a part of last year's program, but they're veteran guys. I do feel like maybe because it's our second trip as a whole program, there's a little bit less of a ooh, we made it type feeling or pressure type feeling. And now it's more like focusing on, hey, we can actually win a game here. We can get to round of 32, maybe Sweet 16. And I heard directly from Braden Hausen about that. So if you want to hear those exact things from him, again, we'll have these full scope interviews for you at teedoffsports.com. While we're talking Hausen, though, he's got a brother in basketball as well. Has spent time at several different places and used the transfer portal himself quite a bit. Well, his brother's making the tournament as well. And so I thought it might be interesting just to kind of find out. You think about two boys, two brothers, are they ribbing each other over this NCAA tournament thing?
Speaking of your family, you mentioned your brother there. I know he's likely headed to the NCAA tournament as well. This being your second time going there yourself. Do you two chit-chat about that at all? Is that kind of like a one-upmanship kind of thing that you guys are like, yeah, I'm going back there, to the tournament myself? And
yeah, sometimes we'll joke around about like this is his first time making it. So there was definitely some jokes in the summer that I had made the tournament and it took him, or he hadn't made it yet. But no, he's my best friend. I'm not in it trying to one-up him or anything like that. I want to see him succeed just as much as I want to succeed. So yeah, I'm excited for him.
I'm not sure how many times, should have looked this up, but brothers have faced off with one another in an NCAA tournament. That would be quite a story if somehow that ever played out in this thing. Let's get to Scotty Washington. I don't know, man. It's been a while since we caught up with Scotty, but I'll share again for those that may have missed it, his first time with us back in our archives. Scotty flows around on High Point's campus with a scooter, and savvy vet move. I've said then, I'll say now. These guys, they gotta protect their legs a little bit, getting up lots of shots, lots of workouts. High Point's campus, since I was there, grown in size. So now, you got a little bit of a walking distance. Did he take the scooter to the Big South tournament?
Scotty, man, it's great catching up with you. You are now a Big South champion. How's that feel?
Feels unreal. It's something that we talked about when I came here, but, in hindsight, you just focus on the day, everything you have to do in the day, so I didn't really think about it. But when we won, it's a crazy feeling.
I knew I had to ask you this. We were just passing, kind of like two ships in the night, man, at the Big South tournament in Johnson City, and you said, hey, I brought my scooter with me. Is that legit?
No comment.
All right. Well, we'll leave my wildest imaginations and dreams to wonder, because I really hope you did. Like that old Bessie girl needs to go with you everywhere. You may have to answer the same exact way, but I got to ask you again. Will the scooter make a trip for the NCAA tournament?
It'll be there. Definitely.
Okay. Beautiful. I love it.
Scooter making the trip no matter where they're at for the NCAA tournament. It's a little good luck charm, man, for Scotty. I think he should take it with him. Other thoughts from Scotty now that we've heard on the scooter about playing Big South Basketball Championship here recently, but also NCAA Tournament coming up.
Really, regardless of what we view it as, in order to win a game in the NCAA Tournament, it would quote-unquote be an upset. So with that in mind, what does it take from a team standpoint to pull an upset in college basketball?
I feel like it's going to take what it took in that Big South tournament, resilience. I feel like resilience is going to be big. You know, not everything is going to go our way. We might have a bad half, a bad media, a bad, not everything's going to go our way. So I feel like if we lock in and we stay together and band together, good things will happen.
So a guy that showed some serious resilience, and I think the whole team really did. You look back to those 4 losses that we've had, maybe other than just the one at Winthrop, this team showed lots of growth, and there was lots of resilience, I feel like, and those things build character. They build preparation for times like this that are going to be more difficult, and you expect things like that to happen. But a guy that was right there in the midst of all of that, of course, was Cam Fletcher. And Cam, we've shared lots of discussion here on the Proud Panthers podcast about him. I know High Point fans with the circles that are out there, they've had lots of interest about his story this year. And Cam showed out again for that Big South championship game in ways that, man, it's just so impressive and makes me really super proud of him. Finally, I was able to catch up with him earlier this week.
You are a highly sought-after guy after the weekend that you had at the Big South Conference Tournament. How did that feel after, I know, a lot of up and downs throughout the season?
I feel like it was all worth it at the end. Everything that I went through to come out like that. Biggest game of the season. I had my best game of the season. It just worked out great for me. So I can't do nothing but thank Coach Flynn and my team for staying with me throughout the whole year.
I don't want to move away from that game before I mention you had 19 rebounds. Mm-hmm. Double-double is always nice, but 19 rebounds for just even like an average basketball fan, I would say most people average maybe 4 to 6 rebounds a game. Mm-hmm. Did you have anything in your mind or the way you felt going through that championship game against Winthrop that just made you think, like, today's the day I'm going to click and pick up a lot more? Or was it maybe trying to do things that you were coached through the week? I don't know. How do you come to grab 19 rebounds in a game?
While the game was going on, I think like the first 3 minutes they had like 7 offensive rebounds. So me sitting on the bench, I just knew like going into the game that I had to go rebound in order to stay in the game. So that's just what I did to help the team come back.
I know for you, Cam, you have been a lot of different places, and this is my first time catching up with you on the Proud Panthers podcast. Overall, have you enjoyed being a Panther here in High Point?
Yeah, I love it. I love the crowd. I love the energy around the school. I love the campus. Like, everything's just – it's like Disneyland here. I mean, it's a great campus. I've been to a whole bunch of schools around the country, and I've never seen a campus like this. It might not be as big as some schools that I've been to, but as far as just the people on the campus, the buildings, President Cubain interacting with some of the students, like, it's just, I love it here.
So it makes me wonder. I'm a High Point guy, born and raised. I've never been anywhere else, but as you've been Xavier and Florida State and Kentucky, had you heard of High Point before?
No, I never heard of High Point until last year.
So your first reaction when you walk in a Cubain Center, does that just kind of blow you away? Like, how have I never heard of this? Or is it more like, I kind of had a feeling?
No, I was wondering, like, how haven't I heard about this college? I mean, with so much going on campus, with steakhouses and stuff like that, I just figured I would hear about it somehow, but I never heard about it. But it's kind of interesting, my first visit.
I wanted to share more of just Cam's thoughts there because it was our first time hanging with him. And again, teedoffsports.com on our blog section, you can hear these full-length interviews with all these guys. We were getting demolished on the offensive boards for Winthrop early in that game, in the Big South Championship game, without Cam coming in and becoming dominant on the rebounds. I don't know that we're Big South champions today. That's really what I saw when I was watching that game. But Cam has experience in the NCAA tournament before. He's made it one other time with Xavier. Don't want to spoil our full conversation, but Xavier did get a win in that tournament. So he understands what it takes, and this is what he could share with the other guys on the team.
Against Purdue last year, we came up just a little short. What do you feel like that you could share maybe with the other guys as to what it takes truly to win a game in that type of tournament?
Well, I say rebounding. I feel like High Point lost last year because of the rebounding game. They shot the ball well, but as far as getting offensive and defensive rebounds, I feel like Purdue killed them on the glass. So I feel like if they would have rebounded the ball well, they could have beat them.
Has the staff, the guys, shared with you all the film from last year? Is that something you guys have watched, or you just watched as a fan?
No, I just watched as a fan. Yeah, I just watched it.
Cam is he's been there. He's got the body. He's got the talent of a Power 5 program. And in an NCAA tournament that we're about to embark into, you're bound to see guys that are just big, that are strong, that are fast, that are crazy, talented abilities. And there's a little bit of solace for me to have Cam play the way he did in the Big South Championship. Hopeful that can only continue with our first round, second round, however far we get coming up in this tournament, because rebounding, as he mentioned there, I think is an area of concern. It has been since we lost Bodo. Part of the reason why we got killed against Purdue was because Bodo was in some serious foul trouble. I mean, he came back in the game in the second half. That's when High Point went on a bit of a run. And then I think Bodo was one that missed like a front end of a 1-on-1 from my recollection. And that's where, Purdue went on another little spree to kind of put things away in that game. But that's where a lot of times in pulling a quote unquote upset or playing a Power 5 program and being competitive, you gotta be competitive as well on the offensive and defensive boards. Get second chance opportunities on the offensive end and eliminate second chance opportunities for the other team, making them one and done on the defensive end. Now, I got some serious big news from Cam yesterday when we sat down with one another that I excited to share. Yeah, kind of got the green light to be able to keep this in the interview portion and share with you all. For those maybe wondering what is ahead for Cam Fletcher.
I want to get to at least 16 final. Elite 8. Win it all, of course. That'll be big for this school and this program to at least win 2-3 games of the tournament. After that, I'll probably figure out what I need to do after the season. Hopefully, it's probably come back to High Point. I got another year left, so I don't know.
I'll summarize there right at the end. He's saying hopefully come back to High Point. He's got another year left to play. So that was approved with NCAA compliances that Cam Fletcher's career in college won't be over after whatever run we make in an NCAA tournament. He's still got another season left. So that'll be another storyline around Cam Fletcher that I know a lot of High Point fans, myself included, will be very intrigued to follow throughout the offseason. After the NCAA tournament finishes, the portal opens back up. things will be flying all over the place. Roster management is one of those things in college basketball that is I don't know a great way to summarize it other than hectic. Recruiting used to kind of be close to that. Although recruits, you have a long period of time where you kind of realize, okay, we got this 5-star guy, he's committed. He signs his paperwork. Okay, good to go. In the transfer portal, I almost feel like you never expect, to get a player or that a current player you have potentially could be leaving until boom, story breaks, they're gone. Or boom, we just got this guy picked up. So we'll see how everything shakes out around Cam particularly and the rest of the guys here on the team. But I thought that was some really exciting news for him, but also potentially could be for our High Point Panthers, just depending upon how that all plays out. Selection Sunday watch party. If you're there, would love to hear from you. I'll be there with myself, my family, looking forward and excited to see where our High Point Panthers end up. Who are they going to be playing? Once we know that, we will most definitely be reaching out to Flynn to get his thoughts around the upcoming first round matchup. And we'll be sharing that with you on a Monday edition of the Proud Panthers podcast. In the meantime, all of these conversations we shared with Scotty, with Rob, with Braden, and with Cam, full length, they'll be up at teedoffsports.com. And like I said, we look forward to being with you again Monday, Proud Panthers podcast.